All right. Welcome back, family. This is our regular scheduled Wednesday night discussion, and we're looking at world conflict. We're dealing with decolonization. I want you all to come in. Come in. Thank you for coming in. Off the top, we're saying tap the screen. It doesn't cost you anything to share the live, repost the live. All right, so we're going to get off into decolonization, looking at can the U.S. be decolonized. We want to show you some things that you may not have seen or you may not be familiar with. For a number of you, this will be an introduction into a global movement called decolonization. So as you can see in the picture up above my head, it expressed, let my people go. Some of you may say, well, go then. What's stopping you? Well, this is the geographical area and or landmass called America. And for America, there's a unique situation and or thing that transpired within the concept of what a state is and how a country was born. And this is where decolonization comes into place to show how these things can be made separate again. And you don't have to look at going to pick up your arms, or looking to deal in a hostile manner and or measure. So we want to share some things, with you that globally is transpiring with respect to decolonization and the movement. So we'll also look at what colonization is, so we can kind of explain, these things. And when you talk about Cuba right now, how they're saying, we want to take Cuba. When you look at what's transpiring with Iran, a lot of folks don't understand, but these people are colonizers. And they were hoping to go in and establish Iran as one of their colonies. I know that sounds weird, right? But, ultimately, they want control. And historically, these people have been colonizers. Thank you all for coming into the live. Tap the screen. It doesn't cost you anything. Let's get into it, you all. Share the live, repost the live. I'd like to see, at this point, we already have over 240 people in the room. So if you guys don't mind, I'd like to see 100 shares, if you can. I know some of you may be at work, you may be driving, and it may not be possible, for you to do that. But, at least everybody else, share it. Your family member, your friends, they should be here for this discussion. Okay? Because it's important for us to understand what we can do and how we can do it, who we need to do it with, and really where's the resource to get it done. Because these issues have been too long standing here in what we call America or the United States. But looking at what I was saying about Iran and how they really, the colonizers were looking to capture, that land and have control over it as well. Even as decolonization is a global movement. Okay? I don't know how many of you have actually heard of it, right? So you can put up in the chat, you could put a 1 if you're familiar with decolonization. You can put a 2 in the chat if you're not familiar with it and this is like news to you. But nevertheless, we're going to touch on some real key points centered around what it is, how it's a global movement, and how it can be lawfully obtained, and how it's centered around human rights and the UN, how it's focused on reclaiming autonomy and self-determination, you all. These are things that a number of us talk about, in this place that we call America, but we haven't been able to understand like really how to achieve it. We seem to think our remedy will come from voting within their system, a system that's designed to make certain that they maintain power through what you call democracy. In the sense of democracy, how they have it established, they will always be what's known as a majority. So this is why decolonization is key, when you also understand we are a people. And as a people, we've been oppressed, here in this land, and we do need to seek reclaiming autonomy and self-determination. These things are fundamental rights. I think we've forgotten. And somehow we think in place of the fundamental right being self-determination, it's as if we've accepted civil rights as an adequate mean, to having resources or being in charge of our destiny. So civil rights, let's just be clear, and I may be getting ahead, of myself, but I think it's necessary to explain this. Civil rights, you all, these are privileges. And privileges mean somebody can grant and or take them away. I know it says right at the end of that, civil right. And some folk think, it's equivalent to an unalienable right, but these things are different. And should we understand our ancestors were tricked into accepting civil rights when they could have accepted self-determination and the ability to reclaim autonomy and be self-sufficient. You may ask, like, what am I talking about? What do I mean? You've heard me say a number of our people, and I'm going to get into the reading, based on decolonization, first explaining what colonization, is, so that we can, have some sense of where we're going and what we're talking about and why we're saying, let my people go. And furthermore, where the U.S. is like decolonization, I dare you. Try it, right? But you all have heard me express, when it comes to our ancestors, they never, ever meant for us to be trapped within integration. That was a trick, right? Integration, assimilation, those things do not work for us with the colonizer. The only thing that's going to work for us is total liberation. I get it though. A number of you are not ready for that. A number of you feel you will never be successful without the colonizer's permission or without their help. And you deserve each other, okay? But let's be clear, as some of you have stated, and you passionately say, our ancestors gave their lives so that we could have the right to vote. Haven't you heard that before? Haven't you heard people say that and they impress it upon you like It's a fact and it's a truth, but that's rhetoric. Our ancestors did not give their life so that we could be oppressed. Having the right to vote is a part of our oppression. It's a part of the trick. You may say, well, what do you mean by that? Okay? We're confused because we hear the word right and we think it's something that belongs to us. Well, once again, within the construct and the system that they put up, it's a fancy term. It's what I call technical jargon, because they say the right to vote, you all, it's just a privilege. And privileges are something that someone can take and or give. Civil right, it's not an unalienable right. The right to vote is not an unalienable right. An unalienable right, they can't touch it. But they trick the people. And they put that fancy word, the right to vote, civil rights. And you all are thinking these are rights. They're just privileges, meaning they can take them away whenever they want to, and they can grant them at any time they want. So our ancestors did not give their life for us to have privileges. And within the privileges, we can be oppressed. Now, what did happen around that time, if we're looking at historically what took place, within the environment? You had the UN within the 60s. They came up with understanding that colonization was bad and that decolonization had to happen. So you had, all of these states that, signed off on it. Okay. And in the scope of signing off on it, they were then supposed to distribute the information out into different communities that were affected by the harmful acts of colonization. So in the US, these folks are so slick, okay, during that time in the height, of all of the protesting and the riots, they said, you know what? Before we roll out the fact that they can have self-determination or they can deal with reclaiming their autonomy, they said, let's give them civil rights and make them feel like, they are a part of something. But in the civil right, we'll get to control every last one of their actions. We'll get to see everything they're doing, and anything and everything they do will be centered around making certain we stay in power and opposition. So you've heard some people say your vote don't count and, it doesn't matter. Well, if you're trying to deal with liberation, if you're trying to deal with self-autonomy, reclaiming, your autonomy and self-determination, then the act of voting within the construct of their system, it doesn't help. Okay. I know that's hard for a number of you to hear. It's hard for you to process. It's hard for you to understand because all you've known is what they've presented before you as a step towards freedom. Okay? Now, let's get into it. All right, let's get off into it. And this is an introduction, you guys, because behind the scenes, this is where we really get deep, off into it. But I thought I'd use this time to kind of explain for a number of people that have never heard about it or have no idea that it's a real movement, that we can use to achieve a true goal. Okay. Let's see. All right. So here, can the U.S. be decolonized? And if you were here last week, I kind of read this part right here. So I'm going to recap, this part right here as we look at colonization. I thank you all for coming into the live. My brother CP is here, and a cast, of our team is in the house tonight as we're diligently working in the back with our committees and looking to put things in position and or place that we can ride out, on self-determination. Okay. Here in 2026, right? Why wait to 2027? Your help, your participation, and your support, be it your gift, your skill, your talent, these things would be necessary. Whether you have a skill within art, technology, these things can definitely be useful as we're focused on our marketing, as we're looking towards different platforms. We'll need to set up different technologies within apps. I mean, this is about, reclaiming and building a nation. You all think reparations is just something. It's like y'all just love begging. Like you think they just going, at one point in time, listen to you. So I'm just trying to say with this, it supersedes reparations. Now, I'm not saying that you should stop, in demanding reparations. It's just the methodology is all wrong. Okay? Reparations will never come to a people that are stateless, and we're going to explain, a lot of what this is, because for a number of you, this will be like new terminology. Like, what is he talking about? But I assure you, everything we deal with is evidence-based academic research. If we can't stand on it from substantive law or some records of antiquity, we're not going to fool with it. We're not going to talk to you about what we think, what we feel. Okay? It won't be successful if we did that. But reparations will never be granted to a people that do not have a nation to substantiate the reparations. Then think about it from this point, because some of you don't care. Like, you just want some money, right? You just don't care, right? Some folks say, well, California is doing it and, this state is doing it. Look at it this way, you all. As long as you are subject to their system and you are without total liberation, whatever money or funds they give you, you're only going to give it right back to them. You will never have any power and or position under the colonizer. And since global leaders and world leaders and other countries have already recognized that this concept is a mistake, we should use this opportunity and we should focus on gaining momentum to come from under that rulership and establish our position and or place on a global stage. Having the interest, the agenda, and the express will of the people. Y'all know they say we have up to $2 trillion in purchasing power, right? So while you're out here begging for reparations, we can understand how to focus that $2 trillion, from purchasing power into how we can use that to bargain with other countries internationally on the global stage and understand what our interest is. We can build our own hospitals, fire stations, how we take care of our people and stop begging these folks to do things for us that they're just not going to do. If they were going to do it, they would have been done it. But all they do is lie, and they keep lying, and they keep lying. And the last lie that I can remember, but I'm sure there's one that came after that, was the Great Society. I was a child. The promise never came. And on the anniversary upon which it was supposed to transpire, they made a joke out of it. They were laughing in my face as I was old enough then to understand. So anyway, let's get into it and hopefully you all understand where we're going, what we're talking about, and why decolonization is necessary for all the things that we've been asking for all the things that we understand we want and or need to be successful and able to compete on the global stage. Let's go. All right. Woo, that was a lot. All right. Thank you all for coming into the live, right? Appreciate you. Tap the screen. It don't cost you anything, right? The Daily Heart Meter is up there. You all make sure you share the live, repost the live. Share the live, repost the live, okay? All right, let's get off into it. Colonization is the process where a foreign power invades, settles, and establishes control over a territory and its indigenous population. Didn't that happen? Often exploiting its resources. Didn't that happen? Economy and culture. Did not that happen? It involves imposing the dominant power's language, culture, and political system, frequently through violence and displacement. So all these things can be verified as a part of colonization. Okay? So let's look at some key aspects. And this is just an introduction as we're going into decolonizing and understand why this is a solution to a long-standing issue that we've had in this country. But they don't promote it. They don't talk about it. And why would they? It doesn't benefit their interest. It doesn't serve the corporations that they serve. It's to their benefit to keep us under their system or, as a commodity whereby they have all of our intellect and they have control over every aspect of our life. Let my people go. Okay? All right, so the key aspects: political and economic domination. My apologies. So it says controlling a region to exploit its resources for the benefit of the colonizing power. And this is what I'm explaining to you. Whenever you're voting, it's for the benefit of the colonizing power. Dog it, I know that sounds hard to hear because you all want to trust and believe in these people like they really mean to do you some good because they call it democracy. But let's understand, colonization is simply about the benefit of the colonizing power. I didn't say it. That's not what I think. That's not what I feel. This is giving an understanding as to what happened, what's happening, and what we're experiencing, and why we can't seem to understand that we're not getting ahead. Yeah, they throw some crumbs out there, and they make you feel that you can be like a LeBron James, or you can be like a Oprah Winfrey. I mean, that's the carrot on a stick to make you think just try a little harder and you'll get there. But none of those people are free. None of those people even have the type of success you think they have. It's all an illusion. Anyway, let's look at settler colonialism. A form where settlers aim to replace the indigenous population with their own. Tell me that didn't happen. Okay, let's look at the impact. Colonization has led to significant loss of life, slavery, displacement, and long-term intergenerational trauma for indigenous communities. Some of you should be able to relate with what's being expressed. Okay? So that was colonialism. So now I'm going to get ready to take you into decolonization. Now, I can open up the stage here real quick if anybody wants to talk real quick about the colonization and what has been brought up, if you identify with it, if you feel like this is like really all new, type stuff to you as I get ready to move forward towards decolonization. Let's see, we got a whole lot of people seem like they want to get up on the stage. All right, I don't know who want to be first. Whoever want to be first, type it in the chat and I'll bring you up. Whoever want to be first, just type it in the chat and I'll get you up because I can't trust that list. That list just got a whole lot of people. They look strange to me. I don't really know where they at. But if you want to come up, let me know. All right, let's see. Got somebody. I don't even know who this is. Let's see if I was right. All right. Okay, yep. See, that's what I'm talking about. These folks strange. Like I told you. Let's see. All right. Well, like I said, if you don't type it in the chat, I'm going to keep it moving. All right. Real quick, I was just trying to get some folks to come up if they wanted to come up. All right. So, yeah, I'm going to keep it moving. As I look to find my next spot, my next point. I appreciate you all for coming, into the live. Man, I'm going to deal with some of these treaties and things that we have, on this page as well. I know what I was, we're going to talk about, just real quick, the denaturalization outside of denationalization. Those, are really key components because we always talk about denaturalization, you all. But doggone it, what happened to us? We were denationalized. Two different concepts. Don't really, talk about and or deal with them, like that. So we're going to look at that a little bit too. I'm trying to find this one point that I wanted to talk about real quick as far as the Constitution and everything as well. Wanted to give some insight, on that, as well. All right. Y'all just bear with me. Who is this? All right. Somebody wanna come up? All right. Who we got? How you doing? Can you hear me? I told y'all, man, people weird. They just weird. All right, we're gonna get you up out of here. I did say if you didn't put it in the chat that I wasn't going to bring them up. So I guess I'm gonna stick to that because, like I told you, these folks are weird. Yeah, I'm just trying to find my part in my note here real quick. Y'all just bear with me. I might have to skip it if I don't find it because I know y'all like to keep that energy going, and I ain't mad at you, for that right there. Okay, yeah, I think this is what I was looking for. All right, got it. I think I got what I was looking for. So, looking at looking at the supremacy clause, and after this, we'll jump, into the point and or concept centered around decolonization. I realize when it comes to the Constitution, I realize, like everything else, a majority of people just don't really have an understanding as to like the intent and or purpose behind it. Now, I'm not sitting up here trying to talk to you guys like I'm smarter, than anybody, that I know more than anybody. I'm just trying to point out some things that I've recognized within my research, and some things that I've kind of recognized helps keep the confusion going. And for us, as we're looking to not deal with integration or simulation, but understand the full face benefit of liberation, then there's some things we need to understand about this Constitution. Okay, thank you all for coming into the live, right? Tap the screen. It don't cost nothing. Let's see. We're already up to 7,000 likes and everything. All right, let's get that number up to 10,000. Appreciate you all. Tap the screen. It don't cost anything. The Daily Heart Me is up there. Share the live, repost the live. I see you sharing it. Appreciate you. So here, I want to say this. When it comes to the supremacy clause, right? It tells you, or you've heard us talk, or people talk about the law of the land. And some folks say, well, the Constitution is the law of the land. Well, the true fact is there are treaties that we don't study, we don't look at, and these treaties are truly the law of the land. Shh. Quiet as kept. Right? And as long as people don't understand the prevalence of treaties and how they can be used, shh, they'll never have any real power. They'll never understand how to navigate. All right, so here's one other thing I want to point out about the Constitution. The signers of the Constitution, they were called constitutors. So when we look at constitutors, let me show you this. A constitutor is primarily a legal term from civil and Roman law referring to an individual who formally promised to pay the debt of another. We're going to stop right there for a second. They promised to pay the debt of another. Man, I had to think about that. Looking at all the things that I've learned about the interactions and the creation of a United States in America and all this stuff. A promise to pay a debt, right? Of another. So we had all of these corporations and everything that came together to form from the colonies, the states. And they went into contract, treaty, or agreement with somebody. A lot of you think it was the King of England. A lot of you think, it was England that they went into contract with, like they were trying to get away from England, but yet they turned around and said, let me go, England. And England said, okay. That don't make sense. So we have to correct within our understanding of history what was really going on. Who were these colonizers and those settlers? Who were they dealing with? Who were they talking to? That they were making promises that they would pay tribute, or, that they would make compensation for certain transactions that were happening. These were constitutors. The ones that signed this deal. Okay, now, it says, formally promising to pay the debt of another, creating a binding obligation. So the Constitution is a binding obligation. Some of you have said, oh, we get our rights from the Constitution. Not true. We do not get rights from the Constitution. In fact, we have our rights to protect us from the Constitution, to protect us from the unsavory business practices. This is why in the Hybel versus Nevada case, they say, exercise your right against the government. Now, I know if I said that, you'd be like, that boy just trying to be radical. But this is what the justices have expressed. Exercise your right against the government. All right, so here, creating a binding obligation. This is what we're talking about. The constitutors and the Constitution is a binding obligation between parties. I just don't think folks have yet come to understand who is that other party. And because this is an introduction, right? I'll leave that open for a number of you to be able to dig and come to research, or if you come into our discords and our study rooms, then we can further have those discussions, okay? It says it can also broadly mean one who establishes, ordains, or creates something. Now, I know a number of you would like to just run with that part right there and be like out the door. No more responsibility. But that Constitution is an obligation to a debt that's going to be paid. And the constitutors, they made certain to say, yeah, we'll make sure this is covered. So all of those companies, they paid tribute. I just don't think we've identified who the tribute, was to. But it's all tied to the treaties. Okay? I wanted to bring that part, into play. All right, so now let me go into decolonization. This is what we've all come into the room. This is what we all come here for. We wanted to talk about decolonization. Thank you all for coming into the live. I appreciate you. All right. One more time before I go. Any questions? Anybody wanted to come up on the stage and say something? Let's see. All right. I mean, y'all getting down in the comments. Y'all better leave CP alone. I'm telling you now. Y'all better leave him alone. I'm just telling you now. All right, let's see. Real quick. Trying to see if we got any folks that want to come up on the stage real quick. Man, I'm just going to say, right now, it's a little bit too much work for me to be trying to go through that list in conjunction to try and get through this information in a timely manner. So I'm just going to tell you the stage is open. It's my last attempt. The stage is open. One time. I wasn't even trying to pull whoever this is. What you want to add to the conversation real quick? Boy, what I tell you. Some strange people out there in the audience. All right, thank you all for being patient. Thank you for coming into the live. Let's get back to it. Decolonization. This is where we are. Let my people go. Right? Can the U.S. be decolonized? I'm going to tell you right now, the U.S. can be decolonized. However, we have to focus on the forgotten treaties. We can't use the Constitution to decolonize the U.S. because the Constitution is nothing more than an instrument to resolve an agreement or a tribute or a debt to another party. And for a number of us, we've not yet really dug into these instruments to understand who these parties are. But you best believe when it comes to the UN, and the upper echelons of the US government, they really understand what those treaties and who the parties are. It's up to us now to bring ourselves up to speed. And I'll tell you this, and I've said it before. If you're waiting for their experts and their professionals to explain this information to you, you'll be waiting, and it's never going to happen. If individuals such as CP, individuals, such as Mario, myself, Jabbar, and a number of others that work within the Elevation Room and EBAR, which is evidence-based academic research. And there are even some of you that I do not know, but you're out there and you're committed, to a promising change. And you're dealing with transformational information. The problem with a number of you is you've turned to hustle the information. You've made packages out of it, and you're giving education a bad name. So we don't do that. Right here, you'll never catch me hustling the information. The information is free, you all. It's free. It's important for the people to be educated, because once the people is educated, then we're empowered. There's no movement without enlightenment. This information is new to a whole lot of people. So once you get it, right, you'll support from that standpoint. So there's no need to create a package and sell the information to the people. However, we do ask that people support what they believe in. So we're moving forward. Decolonization, you all. Decolonization is a serious legal, political, and historical subject governed by international law. Who knew that? How many of you knew that? Huh? It's a historical subject. This ain't nothing new, you all. Why haven't you heard about it until now? For most of you, I know some of you out there, you're familiar with it, but this is for those that haven't. We got a lot of people in the room, and we got folks that still think they can vote their way into freedom, and we got some folks that think they have freedom. And for those people, we need to let them stay where they are. But for those of us that know something is wrong or things can be different, we need to understand decolonization and how it's a historical subject governed by international law. It says to understand it clearly, we must examine the core United Nations framework that defines it. United Nations General Assembly Resolution 1514 from 1960. Resolution 1541 from 1960. And Article 73E of the United Nations Charter. These are the three things we're going to look at today. Just from an introductory, standpoint. I appreciate you all for coming into the live. Look, tap the screen. It don't cost you anything. Share the live. Repost the live, y'all. Share the live. Repost the live. The Daily Heart Me is up there. Okay. Y'all motivate me to keep doing this thing. As I see you sharing, when I see those blue checks, running up the screen that you sharing and reposting, that motivates me, right? Makes me feel like y'all tracking with me. You know what's going on. Doug, what's going on, Doug? Glad you made it. All right, so these documents together form the legal architecture for modern decolonization. Let's get into it, y'all. McKinney, what's happening? Appreciate you. Modern decolonization. All right, now let's look at this. What is decolonization? Because a number of you, again, this is your first time. This is just an introductory. If you want to learn more, then you'll come into our other platforms on, Discord, and just other places we go. But, at least you'll keep up if you want to keep up. I mean, you all know how to find what you want and get what you want, and you know how to do it. So I don't have to give too much information, right? I ain't hard to find. How about that? CP, he's not hard to find. You know what? CP, I just want you to, if I can get you to post up, on the stage so folks can see you. They'll also know to be able to follow you. You don't have to say anything, too much, but just so they can see you. I can have you up on the stage. Same thing with Mario and Jabbar. If you guys are in the room, I bring you up just so folks can see you. They'll know to follow you guys as well. All right. So decolonization is the process by which people and territories under colonial rule exercise their right to self-determination and achieve political status, freely chosen by their population. See, by their population, you all, this goes into, that point. Let's see. All right, that's my brother Mel right there. All right, hold on. Got you on mute. All right, CP, Mario, Jabbar, if y'all in the room, come on up. Just gonna post you up on stage. All right. So here, it says to exercise their right to self-determination. You all, that's very key because a lot of folks say, I know my rights, but very few folks miss the point of what it means to exercise their rights. So you can know your rights all day, but if you don't understand that rights are not self-executable, then you miss the point, or you're at a loss when something doesn't happen the way you think it should happen because everybody know you got these rights. Okay? All right. That's CP right there. All right, cool. Got you. Y'all, that's CP. Make sure you follow CP. Okay. So it says it is rooted in binding international legal principles developed after World War II, when global powers acknowledged that colonial dominion violated fundamental human rights. So do you think that position has changed, that, well, now they've come to say it's okay? Still to this day, the U.S. government is in violation. But because the people keep casting votes as if the people they don't want self-determination. They don't want freedom. They like being controlled or governed by the colonizer. That's the open secret. Okay? That's the message that's being sent to the world when the world tries to say, America or US, you're doing this, 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 and this. And they say, nope, no, we're not. The people are not exercising their right. Furthermore, they voted for us to do this. Okay? It says it is rooted. Okay, I read that part. Here it says decolonization does not automatically mean separation. International law recognizes several legitimate outcomes depending on who is that? Who is that? Let's see. Let me see who that is. Okay, Trey. Yeah, I apologize, Trey. I wasn't really looking for you to come up right now. I'm trying to get some of the folks that's in the elevation room and with Ebar. But hang in there, Trey. I got you. And thanks for coming, for coming back also, Trey. I'll bring you up maybe later to ask some questions or to make some statements. So here, it says international law recognizes several legitimate outcomes. Now, this term legitimate is often overlooked, but legitimate means what you or me as a people or population, what we find to be proper, appropriate, and just. So anytime you hear somebody talking about legitimate this, legitimize that, what they're saying is this is what's considered to be proper, appropriate, and just. Okay? That's Mario, guys. Mario is on one of the committee boards. All right, y'all make sure, you follow Mario, as well. The people we're bringing up on the stage, make sure you follow these people. So, legitimate outcomes depending on the will of the people. So, legitimate, again, what the people determine to be proper, appropriate, and just. Like, it's not just going to automatically happen because you say, oh, I want to be decolonized. No. We have to look into what the interest is, the agenda is, what the express will is. We got to put that pen to work. This is why we say we need people that are multifaceted with different skill sets to help us build this thing. You all put a lot of energy and emphasis into running their stuff. This is an opportunity for us to have our own and run it. If we've done it for them, you all, no doubt we can do it for ourselves. This is an opportunity. While you're sitting up trying to figure out the next voting session for them, we can be working in-house to create legislation and the voting established for how we're going to stand as a nation with amongst nations and create contracts and look at commerce internationally and deal with the GDP and be separate from their hyperinflation and all this stuff that they got going on, but make it different. All this madness they've created, let's leave them with it. Y'all ain't ready, most of you. But for those of you that are ready, follow me, follow CP, follow Mario, follow Mel, and stay in the loop. Stay in the loop. Right? Meet us up on Discord and Telegram and the other channels where we're really getting off into it. But some of you only have time for your oppression. You don't know how to sacrifice time and give time to be liberated. That's because you're a different type of slave now. And you're centered around the paper with the pictures of the slave masters on it. Not realizing we're trying to say the benefit and or the privilege for us is there to be self-sufficient, but you can't see yourself living without the paper with the pictures of the slave masters on it. You all, that's psychological warfare. And this is why I tell you, I cannot side with my oppressor. That would be insane as to where a number of you make excuses for what these folks are doing. And then you want to convince other people to agree with your madness. That's along the lines of what they call the Stockholm Syndrome. Come on, y'all. Let's be for real about what's going on and what this is. But decolonization, it's a real thing. All right, so let's jump off into U.S. Resolution 1514 real quick, a declaration on the granting of independence to colonial countries and people. Real options, right? Real solutions for long-standing issues. Stop begging for reparations. Let's take control of our destiny and govern and rule for ourselves. You know, when I say govern, self-govern, some of you are already so defeated, like we can't do nothing unless these people are in our business. But that's not what self-determination is all about. That's not what reclaiming your autonomy is all about. It says we're supposed to govern our affairs. So that's talking about that $500 billion budget, the $1 trillion budget, the $2 trillion in spending power. We need to be able to manage that, to establish how we see ourselves and stop looking to depend on these people and their broken system. It don't work. It ain't never worked for us. It's always been a trick. It's a trick. If you know, you should talk about it. All right, so let's look. This was adopted, talking about Resolution 1514. This was adopted December the 14th, 1960. You just now hearing about it, right? Also called the Decolonization Declaration. All right? This is the foundational global statement against colonialism. You all, the rest of the world is against colonialism. Why aren't you? Why are you still supporting it? Why are you still asking people to cast ballots to uphold colonialism in the name of democracy? Stop playing. Stop playing with me. All right, key principles. Let's look at some of the key principles. Self-determination is a right. Okay, now that's different than what you heard me talking about earlier as it pertains to civil rights. Civil rights is not a right, it's a privilege. But self-determination, that's an unalienable right. That's a difference. They have no control. Like they can't jump in and try to tell you how it's going to be governed or do this or do that. No, that's based on the total volition and understanding, you know, the will of the people. Who's the people? It says all people have the right to freely determine their political status under their system within what they call democracy. To maintain colonialism, you don't have a right to determine your political status. You're just a subject. And they told you that in the 14th Amendment. You're a subject. Oh, yeah, I know you think you're a citizen, right? But there's a difference in the citizen of the United States and, you know, the United States citizen. These are just different. The citizen subject to the jurisdiction, these are just different. But again, if you're waiting for their experts and their professionals to explain this to you, you'll be waiting. You'll be waiting. And you will have disappointed your generations, your offspring, your posterity, right? So here, all peoples have a right to freely determine their political status and pursue their economics, social and cultural development. You'll never be able to do that in their system of democracy, maintaining colonialism. Oh, I know you ain't never heard it like that before. And it just sounds weird to a number of you that are out here promoting vote, vote, vote. Go out to the polls and vote, and we got to get him out and get somebody in. It don't matter who you get in. Colonialism will still be thriving unless we understand to remove ourselves from under their rulership using this historical establishment of decolonization through international law. What's wrong with y'all? Number two, colonialism violates human rights. Okay? I didn't make that part up. This is what the global community is saying. This is what the colonizer himself is understanding. But if you're waiting for their experts and their professionals to come into your community and give you the pamphlet, just keep waiting. And just keep waiting. And just keep waiting. Here it says colonial domination is declared contrary to the UN Charter, fundamental human rights, human dignity, even world peace. Wow. Number 47 just put a board of peace together, but yet colonialism is contrary to world peace. So which one is it? Because y'all know he loves rhetoric. And lie, I mean, he just lie. He lie. He just lie all the time. Every time he opens his mouth, it's a different lie. So this is the hypocrisy centered around the political theater and everything that's being played as he's talking about peace and he's of peace, but he's trying to hold on to that colonialism. These two things don't go together based on what's written. Now, I'm following the thought process of what's written. Evidence-based academic research. Okay? Immediate steps towards self-government. Once again, I didn't say it. They're saying we can self-govern. So for all of you that say it can't be done, or that I'm trying to be radical, or that this is a sovereign citizen, or, you know, some other rhetoric that they've put out to help people or to deter people from acquiring true liberation. This is what the global leaders and the UN have expressed for anybody that's being colonized, oppressed through the systems and measures of colonialism. They say you can move towards the steps to be self-governed. What's wrong with you? You don't think that's an appropriate measure? You think we need 4 more years of their guidance? You think we need 4 more years to, be given a great society through, their broken promises? And because for real, once they realize y'all listening, because they taking a calculated risk that your head's so clogged up that ain't none of this gonna make sense to you. But once they realize you're taking this serious, oh, they're gonna come with all kind of gifts and offers and do this and hey, look, just hang out with it, or we gonna do this. But the trick is they're gonna say, like they told my parents, we just need 50 years. You give us 50 years and we're gonna paint the streets gold for you. Every place where y'all people live, y'all gonna have golden doorknobs and ruby toilet seats. And if you fall for that trick like my parents fell for it, when your children grow up like I grew up, ain't gonna be nothing there for them but a heartache and hard times. And then they're gonna pull the story out and they're going to mock it and laugh in your face. That's what they do. I'm a witness. It happened to me. So no one can say, oh, I'm making that part up. So it says colonial powers must transfer authority to the people and territories without delay. Are you reading along with me? Are you hearing this? The only problem is a number of you are afraid to step in the manner to where this must be enforced. You're afraid. You're afraid of freedom. And you're trapped in your mind under oppression as if you will not be successful without the hand of the man in the land of colonization. I know that last word didn't rhyme, but I tried to make it fit. But without delay, they have to do this. The problem is we haven't put the foot forward to say, this is what we're doing. But you all are going out registering to vote outside of making certain that the territories turn over the power without delay. Maybe you didn't hear me. Turn over the power. While you all thinking voting is going to give you the power, they're sitting up here telling you decolonization is the route for them to turn over the power. Okay. No condition based on readiness. Okay? No condition based on readiness. Colonial powers cannot delay independence. Cannot delay independence. Don't you want independence? I mean, hell, they wanted independence. They were smart enough. The only problem is they took independence and then entrapped and or enslaved another people in the guise of freedom, liberty, justice, and the pursuit of happiness when we've been crying the whole time. Colonial powers cannot delay independence by claiming a territory is not developed enough. So they've moved any excuse. The moment we step up, we've positioned ourselves to self-govern and show that we're in the position to reclaim the autonomy. They have no room to say, well, hold on, wait a minute. We need a little more time. We just need, it's like, no. When we show up, they got to throw it up. They got to give it up. I know y'all ain't used to hearing it like that because your mind is like just so used to begging and asking. But this talks about a people that understand who they are and you demand what's rightfully yours, and the law supports it. The global community supports it. It's a shift in power, a shift in position, a shift in status. Don't you want it? But if you don't, I get it. Because everybody don't want to be separated from them people. Some of you like serving them people. You like getting up in the morning, making your coffee, packing your lunch, and making them richer. You like getting up in the morning, going into their institutions and indoctrinating yourself even further. You like receiving their certificates and their registrations, and you like paying them tribute. It's sad. But that's psychological warfare. That's Stockholm syndrome on another level. Right? Here it says territorial integrity protections. Attempts to partially disrupt national unity or territorial integrity are condemned. All we got to do is step in, y'all. End of political economical, and military control. Ooh, y'all ain't ready for this because y'all think they got the greatest military in the world and they just so strong. Hercules, Hercules, Hercules. Like, can't nobody do nothing. Whoa, whoa, whoa. If it were not for us, they would have no position and no power. Most of you are only in there because that's the only paycheck you can get. Ooh, it's almost like selling your soul for the paper with the pictures of the slave masters on it. Interesting. Really, really interesting. But I get it. You know, you got to feed your family. You got to do what you got to do. But here, we can call for the end of political, economic, and military control. Y'all don't even know. Some folks say, well, you don't have no military. Well, until we move in the position to be a nation state, do we even have right to that demand? I know this is like hard for a number of you to hear because all we've known is the oppression. And for some, it's been the experience. And all the experience have is trauma, shared trauma. All forms of foreign domination must cease. So here, the colonizers are considered foreigners. Look, man, I didn't write this stuff. I'm just trying to explain to you what they've been talking about since the 60s. It's a movement that have been hidden from the minds and the people in the United States that can most benefit from it to come from under the oppression and stop begging for reparations and do something that you can end the political and economical and military control that they have over a people. Now let's look at Resolution 1514 establishes the moral and legal foundation. That's the point of Resolution 1514, you all. It established the moral and legal foundation. This is where we need to be. Doing it for ourselves. I know, this is just different. A number of you haven't heard it, but we're doing it. We're establishing various committees. If you have a certain skill set and you know it would be beneficial to the building, the technology, economics, planning, these are all things that we need to fulfill the desire of self-determination for a people. To come from under an oppressive rule within colonization. Y'all complain about what's happening and how they're doing it, then take the measure to move from under it lawfully. The road is available, but you're waiting for them to tell you you can turn, hit the gas, put the lights on. They're never going to instruct you to be free. They're never going to tell you that decolonization is available and has been available since the 60s. And they have failed to disseminate the information as they agreed that they would because y'all keep voting. Y'all keep saying you want civil rights. You don't want to be decolonized. And for a number of you, because you just didn't know about it. Right? But it says colonialism must end. These are not my words. These are the words of the international family and or the global community. These are the understandings of the colonizers themselves. Colonization must end. And people And people have the right to decide their future. See, you all have been like knowing this is where you want to be, but you felt like the ticket to deciding your future was being with this party or that party, right? This vote or that vote. When voting is not going to assist us with deciding our future. Voting will help to decide their future. Voting continues to support their business, their interests, their government. And I know because they let you get into the seat of representative or legislative, you feel like it's your government. It's a trick. It's a trick. And those who know, they should talk about it. Right? So, however, it says, it does not explain how self-determination is legally measured or implemented. That clarification comes from Resolution 1541. So, we do understand that the moral aspect and the legal foundation, that's what 1514 provides. But when we want to look at the implementation, we got to go to the Resolution 1514. You all, it's a roadmap. It's a roadmap. All we have to do is focus on the specified criteria and step into the suit. Move into the position of status. Let it be known that we are here to do a specific thing. Hand them the express will, the agenda, the legitimate interest, and maneuver as a people. What y'all afraid of? The only failure is staying in their system. When we have an opportunity to live within a separate right and system that's geared toward a specific interest that we find will uplift and benefit our people, stop begging for reparations. You in Resolution 1514. Jabbar, if you're in the house, man, come up on the stage. You in Resolution 1514. I'm sorry, 1541. Adopted December 15th, 1960. Purpose? To define how a territory legally achieves full self-government. Oh, you got lost in the word territory? Okay. That's the point. Like, this is introductory. But that's the point in being a part of other conversations where we show the layers into what this terminology means and who it applies to. Because they've led you to think when they say territory that it's tied to a specific piece of land, and you're thinking they got all the land, they own everything, but a territory, y'all, is also a jurisdiction, is also on paper, is also something that can be shared geographically, and a scope of authority and or power can be given to all those that share within the specified geographical area, having separate jurisdictions called territories. That's the concept of what they call a coterminous jurisdiction. That's another concept that they've been using for years. But again, if you're waiting for their experts and their professionals to explain it to you, keep waiting, keep waiting, keep waiting, just keep waiting. I want to thank you all for coming into the live. Tap the screen. It don't cost you anything. If you like what you're hearing, share the live, repost the live, man. You should have your family members, you should have your friends available to hear this discussion. If you're a spy in the sky, I understand it, right? You're not really looking, to further this information. You're just someone that wants to keep tabs and keep track on what myself and CP and others, are truly doing to liberate, the people. Let's see here real quick. Just real quick. Who is this? Prophecy. Okay. Yeah, Prophecy, thank you for coming in. Right now, I'll pull you up a little bit later. If you had something real quick that you wanted to say, you got like 60 seconds, Prophecy. Otherwise, I'm going to have to bring you back.
No. Do your thing, man. Well, wait. I didn't realize that came up just yet.
Okay, no problem. All right, I'll bring you back. Okay. So, that purpose to achieve full self-government. This is resolution 1541. See, we put these two together. We deal with the moral aspect of it. We deal with the lawful and legal aspect of it. Now we're dealing with the technical aspect of it as to how we set it up. Look, man, you ain't got to make this stuff up. Some folk think, I do it, want to do it. It's already been positioned for us to slide on in and take control. It's just a number of you are afraid. You're afraid. You just don't think you're going to be successful unless these people are in your business, not knowing they are the bane of your existence and the reason why you're stressed, sick, water polluted, air, food, everything is messed up. They've been in control. Who else is responsible? Who is responsible for the downfall? Who's been in control over the resources? You want to keep lying to yourself and just say, these things have happened over time? They are robbing the people, have been robbing the people. One day it's going to say this is or was the best heist ever. See, because that's how they do things. Like right now it may be classified and top secret and all this stuff, but after I'm far gone and, my grandchildren, have grown up and they got children, they'll probably release something that says, this is what happened, in the 2000s and, how they took this and manipulated that and try to convince you that, but they're not doing that right now today. That something is different. These crooks don't change. That zebra still got the same stripes. All right. So here, Resolution 1541 provides the technical legal standards missing from 1514. This is why we work these two together. You all, this is just an introduction, right? But if you're serious about it, you all should inbox me, inbox CP. You can inbox Mario. Let them know that you want to be a part of the process, and we'll make sure you get the information necessary to be in the room. If you have a different skill set, bring that skill set so that we can put this thing together. We did it for them. I know we can do it for ourselves. Here, it says, 3 legitimate outcomes of self-determination. Now, y'all remember what I told you legitimate was, right? So they're saying these are 3 positions that you would think are proper, appropriate, or just. These are 3 outcomes that you would think are proper, appropriate, and just. First of all, if you don't think it's proper, appropriate, or just, don't let nobody tell you it's legitimate. Because they'll rubber stamp something real quick. Or they'll have some review board or oversight committee that's supposedly speaking on your behalf, and you have no idea what legitimacy they're talking about. But these are the games they play, and these are the things they don't explain to you, but you think because it's a oversight committee or advisory board that there's some authority and or goodness there. They own it, they control it, they use it to further their agenda, their interest. What's your interest? Where's your agenda? Where's your express will? Who's representing and or pushing for what you want? Oh, don't tell me you have a senator or you have a representative. They're not working for you. They were hired to protect the interest of the government. That's why they always tell you, I'm just doing my job. But you don't understand, that's dog whistle terminology. Their job is to maintain colonialism, unbeknownst to you. Here, it says a territory is considered decolonized if its people freely choose one of 3 options. Freely choose one of 3 options. Independence is one option. So, is that what y'all want? Do you want independence or do you want to stay, under their rule? I mean, we have options. Something that we think is proper, appropriate, and it's just. Independence. Hell, I'd stop right there. I don't want to see nothing else. That's the only thing that seemed right to me. But we got options because some folk may feel like, what's behind door number 2? So door number 2 is free association, a voluntary political relationship with an independent state. See, now you start going back into putting yourself in slavery. Now, again, these are 3 options. They're said to be valuable options towards self-determination, but I'm just saying, don't nothing beat outright independence. Because now, this is where, now I can say right here, now I'm putting my emphasis and opinion on this part right here when I say the free association, that sounds like the setup, bruh. Because it's saying we have voluntary political relationship with an independent state. That independent state would be them. Okay? I don't want no more dealings with them. Ain't nothing else they could do for me. There's no more promises they can make to break. I ain't interested. Okay? So, let me come out of my opinions and my thoughts and let me just get back to what's written and you can understand it for yourself. These are the 3 options. Free associate. Well, first was independence. Outright, uncut, raw. Independence. Number 2, free association. A voluntary political relationship with an independent state. And we're going to learn what these states are if I have time to get into it tonight. I may have to set up on the following week to go into the different concepts of states. But if you were here last week, we did, touch on it briefly. So we'll continue to touch on these things, seeing for a lot of you, this is your first time hearing it, right? So here are the 3 things. All right. 1, the people choose the relationship freely. 2, the relationship can be modified or ended. 3, internal Self-government is protected. All right. Now, listen, all of that still says they got their hand in the pot. Internal self-government is protected. Like, we still gotta depend on whether they gonna live up to their promise or they just gonna keep lying and break the rules or whatever they do. I don't trust them. That's just it. I want independence. I don't want to talk about nothing else. But here's the third one. Oh my goodness. This one is, it seems like they get worse as they go down, but these are the three options that somebody may say is proper, appropriate, and just. The third one is integration, y'all. It's an option. They say full political integration with an existing state. If people consent freely, equal political rights are granted, no discrimination exists. So I'll give you an example of this right here. The reservations. Here in the U.S., you have what they call Native Americans on reservations. This is an aspect of integration. These people, they feel like they have some power, but it's a limited power. It's called domestic sovereignty. Right? So they feel because they can do certain things like they're better than everybody else, but based on the concept of the integration and the fact that they said reservation, oh, that part went over a lot of people's head. Not even questioning, well, what is the reservation? Okay? They don't have equal rights that are guaranteed. There's great discrimination that exists. Now, they may have consented freely to be in that position and or place, but the reservation got them screwed up. The sovereignty is totally controlled. They don't have independence. While some may feel as if that puts them in a better position and or place than the next, you're just a different type of slave. So it says, this means decolonization does not require succession. It requires free political choice without coercion. Now let's look at some key principles centered around 1541. Cultural respect. There's no cultural respect in this place right here. Most of y'all just got finished celebrating Leprechaun Day. Don't know not one bit about Irish anything, but y'all love to celebrate whatever they celebrate. It's in freaking sane. You have no idea about your own culture and or your heritage, and you don't uplift those days because you're doing Valentine and Easter and Christmas and Thanksgiving and anything they do, you want to be associated with it as if it's upliftment, enlightenment, and right, and the road to happiness when it oppresses you even more. It's unfortunate, but that's a part, of the psychological warfare. That's a part of the indoctrination. A lot of folks don't want to admit they've been indoctrinated because you're grown and you feel like you know something. Well, one day you're going to realize everything you've been taught is a lie. And when you do realize that, whether you're 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, however old you are, that's truly when you'll come to a different stage of education. Outside of that, you have been misled. Cultural respect, it says. Political status must reflect people's distinctive culture and identity. So we must not have any political status being a Democrat and or Republican, because there's nothing that reflects a distinct culture for us. All of that gets suppressed. Domestic consent. The choice must be expressed through informed and a democratic processes. I'm sorry, I think I said domestic consent when it's democratic consent. Says the choices must be expressed through informed and democratic processes. Just basically saying the people have to want to do it. If the people don't want to do it, you can't make them do it. And this is my point. They're using their democratic process to say these folk keep voting to be oppressed. I use that term oppressed because a number of you may feel like you're not being oppressed because you make $100K a year, or you get $200K a year, or you got your own business and you and yours are doing good. So you don't know what oppression. Well, what are you talking about? We got it good. We getting that money over here. Y'all might need to come over here. We eating over here. It's just the crumbs are bigger on that side of town, but they still crumbs. When we talk about decolonization and the independence that we can have, then everything comes back to us. While y'all think y'all living good because your crumb bigger than his or hers. And you're convincing people to stay within an enslaved mindset. For the paper with the pictures of the slave masters on it, y'all tripping. Talking about black banks and generational wealth. You'll never have a black bank or generational wealth in their system. If you want to truly build black banks and you want to truly deal with generational wealth, you must decolonize and stand on independence. Equality. Integration must guarantee equal citizenship and representation. Okay, now that's focused on the concept of if you wanted to be integrated with, them as a political party. Okay. All right, welcome. What's my sister's name? Fannie Lou. Welcome, Fannie Lou. All right, so then it says protection. I almost thought it said protection against search and seizure, which y'all know we deal with that Fourth Amendment advocacy, and that's one of the justice initiatives that I put out. But no, it doesn't say that. It says protection against forced control. Why y'all scared like they're going to do something? If we make this step, we would have protection against forced control. Now, I know a number of you will be like, these folks are bullies. Can't nobody stop them. Well, is that a reason to not move from being under their oppression or from under their system and to move into self-determination and to be independent is because they might hurt us? They might do something to us? No, that's fear. And if that's your reason, you're a sad case of an individual. But I do know there are grown men that are shaking in their adult boots. Their knees are knocking like a door rapper. I know it. And I just want y'all to stay over there with them. Don't you bring your ass over here where we're trying to do and or uplift our people. We don't need no weak ass men. We don't need people that's focused on the problem and trying to convince people they need to stay and shouldn't go. Just stay your ass over there. That's all I can say. We need people that can recognize the problem, are able to look at this set of information and understand how we're going to make it work. What we need next to solidify moving forward. Protection against forced control. Here it says territories, and you got to remember territories also include jurisdictions. Territories cannot be absorbed or controlled without consent, y'all. We need to stand on law. Something we're not familiar with, because we've been waiting for them to tell us where to go and how to do it, but that doesn't benefit the interest of the government, which takes me back to some of you thinking you have representation through your senator and or your representative, when I'm telling you they work to protect the interest of the government. One time I had a legislator tell me, as we were working through the justice initiative that I created, protection against search and seizure, they thought it was such a great idea and they were going to use it to reform law enforcement and change policy. And they came back, oh, well, C2K is, man, the way the laws are written, I can't do anything. And I'm like, wow, the way the laws are written. I said, oh, okay, that just means we have to move to establish a separate precedent. But you listen to what they said, the way the laws are written. Now, if it was something to benefit the interest of the government, they'd have a law in 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, within the year. They'd have it fixed, patched, changed. But when it comes to what we need, it doesn't go to the interest. So the way the laws are written, they can't change it. They can't fix it. They keep telling you these things take time. Let's just get so-and-so in the house and they'll run and they'll promise we're going to do this, we're going to do that. And then they get in and they don't do jack nothing. And they keep doing this over and over. It's on wash, rinse, repeat. And it's like, y'all ain't learned yet. You still telling people to go out and vote. Why don't you vote for decolonization? Put that on the ballot. Independence. Self-determination. Manage and control your own budget. Rebuild your communities. Enrich an oppressed and or forgotten people. And don't let me use the terminology enrich incorrectly, because the concept of enriching, would be considered unlawful. But what I'm saying is invest in your people. You all are running around here talking about blind bat, buying black and all this other stuff. I don't give a damn what you do. If you're doing it in the construct of their system, you ain't buying black nothing, because you're still using the paper with the pictures of the slave masters on it. If you want to do something for black or for indigenous or for your people, decolonize. Stand on independence. They got their independence. You should want your independence. And it's not radical, illegal, unlawful. It's not a crime. Let's look at Article 73E. UN Charter obligations. Article 73E applies to members administering non-self-governing territories. That's another term that you'll have to learn about. That's another term that we teach about. Now, this is just introductory. Okay, and CP does a great job explaining self-governing, non-self-governing territories, the denaturalization versus denationalization. Make sure you follow CP. He's up on the panel right there. Make sure you follow Mario. Make sure you follow my brother Mel that's up there. Okay? All right. So let's look. Article 73E requires administering power to developed self-government. So, if you all want independence, we got to put that work in, as we're doing behind the scene, as we have these committees to establish a developed self-government. Okay? Respect cultural identity. Promote political advancement. Ensure economic and educational progress. Lord knows we need our own educational progress. We need our own economical stability, separate from theirs. Number 5, it says, transmit regular reports to the UN on conditions in those territories. Meaning, letting them know, like, hey, things are going great, or they on that bullshit. Like, I'm telling you now, we ain't going for it, but this is what's happening, and this is how they're not happening, and we use the measures to correct it, but the process needs to be shown that, hey, things are going smooth, we have everything we need, or look, we need XYZ, can we get this resource, can we get that resource? And they let you know when you come into this process, they have certain resources available. So it's not like we're starting from scratch. As a number of you, like I said, you can't fathom what it means to be without these people. Like, we won't be successful, but the world is waiting. They're waiting. And when you step up, there will be no lack. But you all feel if we walk away from these people, we're going to suffer. All you can think about is your sorry stomach. You ain't thinking about your children. You ain't thinking about their future. All you thinking about is right now how you can get some money. How you can go buy a car. You can get a house. You could sow a seed because God got a blessing with your name on it. All centered around the paper with the pictures of the slave masters on it. There's no blessing there for you. All of that is to keep you entrapped and under their rule and authority. You'll never have a black bank. You'll never be able to generate black wealth and all that stuff y'all run around talking about, telling lies and trying to convince people you got it going on. You ain't doing nothing but lying. It says, this creates international accountability. It prevents colonial powers from quietly maintaining control while claiming reform. That's kind of what they do right now. They quietly maintain, that reform is happening, like things are good and we're doing this and we're working on that. And that's only because we're not doing our part as far as being able to report. We haven't stood up to announce that we're participating in this process. So they get to say, look, 300 million people registered to vote. So reform is good. We're going to do it within the next policy, within the next administration. Y'all stop playing. Stop letting people trick you with that black vote and your vote matter and our ancestors gave their life so we could have the right to vote, what they say. I keep telling you, and I'll say it again because some of you may have missed it when I first came in. The right to vote is not a right. It's a privilege. They gave it to you. They can take it away from you. And that's why y'all be crying and talking about, they're going to take away the right to vote. It ain't a right. If it's a right, they couldn't take it. If it was a right, they couldn't give it. It's a privilege. It's a glorified right. It's a trick. So let's ask why. 1541 and Article 73E are supplemental to 1541. All right, so we have the resolution. 1514 declares colonialism illegal and affirms self-determination as a right. It affirms it. In case you were wondering, is C2K over there tripping? Is that old man crazy? What are you over there yapping about? Just yap, yap, yap. Be quiet, Unc. Don't nobody want to hear what you talking about. All right, 1541 defines legal tests for whether genuine self-government exists. So we have something to measure. We have something to help establish the criteria, to make certain we're fitting the bill. To say here we are. To be a self-governing body with power, with authority. No, they can no more come in and tell us what we can and what we can't do, and we don't have to beg for reparations. We'll have control over our $2 trillion in purchasing power. I know that's different. Y'all ain't never heard it like that. Only issue is we then just have to look at how we're going to deal with the criminals amongst us, amongst our own people. But that'll be easy because once we set up the standards centered around principle, centered around standards and looking at the morality within the rights and not being to where the law or the rights would be respect to the person, oh, we'll get you up out of there real quick. Because it won't matter how much fame or how much money you got. If you cross the principle, we're going to be on that AZZ. Get you up out of there or put you up under there. One or the other. But we're not going to allow for corruption to be as they are corrupt. We should have seen and or had enough of wickedness and corruption and oppression and looking to oppress our own people as the oppressor. Come on, y'all. It's a new day. We have an opportunity to do something different, to do something right, to do something just, and it's for us. While y'all running around talking about your bitcoins and your virtual coins and your all-purpose vehicles or special purpose vehicles, this is a new level. This is not for the faint in heart. Uh-oh. I don't know what happened. I think my, hold on. I got to find my spot, my page. It went to reset. I think I got too excited. And it jumped off on me. Let me find my spot back. All right, here we go. I think this is where we were at. All right, so 1541, I said it declares the legal test for whether genuine self-government exists, okay? Article 73E. Oh, yeah, thank you. Thank you for the gifts. Y'all tap the screen. It don't cost you anything. Look, I forgot. I got to say that every once in a while to keep you guys, engaged. Let me know you're with me. Let me know you're feeling what I'm talking about. Tap the screen. It don't cost you anything. The Daily Heartman is up there. Man, share the live. Repost the live. We got a whole lot of people in the room today. We got a whole lot of people. This is your first time hearing about decolonization, as we say, let my people go. And we have a real inroad to make it happen. But what are they saying? The neocons and the Christian nationalists, they're saying decolonize, I dare you. I dare you. They say y'all ain't gonna do nothing. It's all y'all do is talk, play music, dance, act when we tell you to act, put on the dress if we tell you to put on the dress. Y'all ain't gonna do nothing. They say, y'all too sick to organize. They say, you too addicted. You're addicted to the money. They say, if we tell you we'll give you $1 billion, you'll sell you'll walk away right now. And a number of you would. And I hope they offer each and every one of you $1 billion. And you could stay your butt right over there in the oppression. You're deserving of each other. Because $1 billion cannot represent independence, or there's no value. $1 billion is a small number to $2 trillion. The purchasing power, the point that we can control for our posterity and future generations, like, and you'll throw that away for $1 billion? Yeah, you go ahead. So Article 73E requires oversight, right? We get involved. See, we haven't been involved. Once again, we've already started with different committees, and we're establishing more. So we need people with certain skill sets and understanding within certain fields. And as he said, don't ask, what your country can do for you. Ask what you can do for your country. So don't ask about decolonization for that standpoint. Come to understand how you can help make this thing happen. Requires oversight, reporting, and accountability, you all. You can't have accountability if you don't know by what standard. And that's what makes this different, right? Together, they create, talking about a moral foundation from 1514, legal standards within 1541, and the monitoring mechanism, you all, is in 73E. It's just a little guideline, something for us to assess as to how we're moving forward, right? Without 1541, colonial powers could falsely claim territories had autonomy. Very much similar to the reservation. They falsely claim that these people have autonomy. And they don't. They live on a reservation. Didn't even tell them what the reservation is. But they made them feel as if they got a little more freedom than the other people. And this is just how we do. They throw you a crumb a little bit bigger than the other one, and man, you think you got it good. But now we have an opportunity. They can have all that back. You should want to give them the reservation. Let them have all that back, and then we stand for independence and get it all without restriction. True autonomy, self-determination, unadulterated. Ooh, y'all scared of that. Why this movement often go unnoticed? Why? Can anybody tell me why this movement often go unnoticed? Why does decolonization often go unnoticed? Let's see, T, why does this movement often go unnoticed, T? Tony Lee. All right, we're going to get Tony Lee up out of there. Oppression, suppression. Why does this movement often go unnoticed? All right. Mario, the only one that got some answers. We got a whole lot of people in the room. Tap the screen, you all. It don't cost you anything. The Daily Heart Me is up there. I know some of you are at work and you can't really do anything, right? But for those of you that are here, share the live, repost the live. If this is your first time hearing the information, you really need to get your family involved. But you know what? This is not the last time we're going to cover this subject right here. Right? We have other rooms and other spaces that, we deal with where we get into the committee aspect of things, really, getting it set up. So, you all make certain, that you stay tuned and get involved. Don't be afraid. Like, we're not charging you anything to get involved. We don't have a packet to sell and, tell you, well, if you spend $500, you can talk to me on a consultation. We don't move like that. We already got it set up as to, where the funds come from and how we're going to do it. We're not asking you for anything but what you realize you want to give, how you see yourself participating. You may have a talent or a skill that will help us. It's all accepted. That's currency. Hell, if you pay attention, that's currency. Pay attention. Attention, pay. Yeah, that's what it costs. Attention. That's what I want you to pay. All right, so number one, gradual legal framing. Right? Decolonization often goes through referendums, negotiated autonomy, and legal reforms rather than dramatic revolutions. Like I said, this ain't about how some people want you to feel, go get your arms and get your munitions, and this ain't like what they did for January 6th. And no, we don't need to do it like that. We need to show the pen is mightier than the sword. We need to step up and show that our intellect is truly superior. Like, we built this place for them. Everything they're basking in and benefiting off of, it's due to our genius. I know a number of people will deny that because they think they built the country. No. We built this country for them. So now it's time for us to do it for ourselves. Media focus on armed conflict. All right? Peaceful legal processes receive less attention. That's why it goes unnoticed, because we're doing this peacefully. We're doing this with the pen. Now, if we were out there like some of them fools with our weapons in our hands and strapped on, and all these little videos they're doing to get, just to go viral. Y'all want some attention? That's what you want. All that stuff is symbolic. Ain't no victory in that. Then you got Willie D from the Ghetto Boys promoting it like it's some great feat. We got some brothers here. They're telling the police off, and they got their. That is symbolic. It's insane. Willie D, stop. Somebody call Willie D and tell him I said, cut that madness out. If he want to promote something, promote decolonization. It's a peaceful manner. But they don't want to do that because ain't no drama. Y'all love to be entertained. Y'all love drama. Well, we ain't about the drama. We just going to come and perform and do what we need to do. And when you look up, we'll be where we need to be, and you'll still be over there in those administrative chains, bound by the words that will not set you free. Loving the crumbs that they put before you, and you just think you eating so good. It's unfortunate. It says, political sensitivity. Questions of sovereignty and territorial status challenge powerful states. Come on, y'all. Misunderstanding of colonialism. Many people think colonialism only refers to overseas empires of past centuries. That's where a number of you are. You think this is antiquated. Oh, it doesn't apply, to right now. Let my people go. Decolonization is now. Reparations is begging. Self-determination, that's freedom. We're not trying to integrate, assimilate. We're dealing with straight liberation once and for all. That's what our ancestors gave their lives for, not so that we could vote to continue being tricked and oppressed, manipulated, beaten, violated, right? Their knee on your neck, harassed, interrogated. Our ancestors didn't give their life for us to vote for this as a part of a political construct and a system. No, they did not. Stop telling those lies. They voted for us to have liberation. They wanted us to have financial independence. They got tricked and took civil rights. They integrated. They got tricked. All right. K-Real, welcome. Welcome, K-Real. All right, so many people think colonialism refers to overseas empires of past centuries, not modern governance structures. This is where we need to be right now today, focused on the modern governance structures to whereby we stand on self-determination, reclaiming our autonomy, and collectively we're negotiating deals with other international or other state, other heads of state and or I'll say international states. We're negotiating on our interests globally. Okay. Let's talk about let's see. Where I want to go. All right, so decolonization discussions also influence indigenous sovereignty debates, territorial voting rights, self-governing compacts, federal territorial power structures. These are just different things that we have to consider. One, what not to do. We have to look at the difference between what things will keep us tied into their political structure, under their political power, under a guise of freedom through democracy. Because y'all really think democracy is the key. It might be for them, but democracy doesn't work for us because all of this within that system is centered around maintaining their control and their authority. We as a people will never have control in their system. Is decolonization a healthy legal option? Under international law, decolonization is considered a peaceful legal mechanism. So why do you all think It's a bad, like, don't listen to him. He's going to cause trouble, and we're not going to be able to provide for our families. And again, Slep Rock, if you know who Slep Rock is, stay your negative self over there with them. Continue enjoying the paper with the pictures of the slave masters on it, right? It provides structured process rather than violent conflict. A human right framework. Self-determination is recognized in the UN Charter. Y'all, furthermore, self-determination is recognized also within the U.S. Constitution because it's an unalienable right. The issue is we haven't sought to exercise it. That's the difference. We haven't sought to exercise the right of self-determination. We keep voting within their system to keep them in position and or power, control and or rule over us. It's clever, real clever, the way they do it and make you feel like you're a part of the process. I don't care how many more years you go with this party or that party. Your status, political position is never going to change. It can get worse. Oh, as it is, right? Like right now, it's getting worse. And some of you are in denial about that. You feel as if, oh, we just need to get him out of office, and if we can get somebody else in under the democratic process, then we'll be good again. The spice will flow. It's all lies. It's indoctrination. It's an incantation. It's a wicked spell. Right? So still looking at the human rights framework, it says self-determination is recognized in the UN Charter, International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights, International Covenant on Economic, Social, and Cultural Rights. We need to shift lanes, you all. We need to shift positions, you all. We need to be in a position to where we can compete with these people and not lay down and keep serving them so they can continue to walk over us and our generations day in and day out. They don't care about you like that. I know it's hard to hear it because you think they love you. You think they're going to do right by you. They always say one thing and do another thing. Oh, I know it's hard for some of you to hear this and you think I'm just filled with hate. You just think I'm just, what they call it, you think I'm just a racist. I'm just dealing with the facts. We've been lied to. We've been cheated. We've never been dealt with justly. All the promises have been broken. And we'll never, ever, never, ever, ever get ahead in their system. It says a political stability tool. When people can determine their political status peacefully, right, instability decreases. Now, under their system, we'll never understand our political status because it'll always be governed and or controlled within their system of governance. So we don't have a political status. In fact, they've created political status to keep you confined within the controls to support their interest. Their interest, the government interest. Some of you haven't distinguished the difference just yet. Let's look at understanding, and I'm coming to the end, y'all. I'm working my way to the end. We're almost done. Let's look at understanding claims that colonialism still exists, because some of you don't think it's real. As I say, let my people go. Some of you say, let them go where? In fact, you say, just go then. Just go. But no. Let my people go means give back everything you stole. Let's get the interest on what you took. We got the land. We need the gold. We need the silver. We need the mineral rights. These are all things that must be returned. Ooh, y'all don't want to deal with that from the standpoint of self-governance, because you really believe it belongs to them. You forgot. They stole it. Colonization. It's considered criminal. They got to give it back. Control, right? We need control over the resource so that we can take care of our self-determination. Ooh, y'all don't want to deal with that because y'all love the oppressor, most of you. But it's a new day. You got new eyes and new minds that are on the scene and that are looking at the charters, looking at the laws, and looking at what's written, and we're positioning things to change the dynamic with or without you. Because like we said, we understand and we know what we're talking about is not favorable for all people. We know it. Everybody don't want self-determination. We know it. So, like Cornell notes, we're going to draw a line down the middle of the paper. And for those that want independence, you can step on this side. And for those that want to keep doing what you've been doing and pray for it to get better and think it's going to get better and they're going to fulfill the promise, and you just need to get the orange man out the house and all the other rhetoric and lies that you keep telling yourself, then you go over there. That's all. Don't interfere with us and we won't interfere with you. That's all. So here are the claims that it still exists. Scholars use broader definitions for colonialism that include political systems where populations lack full voting representation. Y'all think y'all have full voting representation? Boy, y'all so destroyed in your mind, it's unbelievable. Economic dependency structures. Ooh. You think you have an economic structure that's not dependent on them? No. Cultural suppression. Yeah. Didn't you just, most of you, celebrate a Christmas, talking about his Jesus Christ's birthday and New Year's in the dead of winter? Don't know it supports a false god and Janus and Roman culture, and man, it's crazy. Valentine's Day, y'all, half of y'all don't know what the hell you celebrating. You just want to celebrate. St. Patrick's Day, none of that it ain't got nothing to do with you, your heritage, your people. This is all stuff that come from them, and you know it come from them, but you try to make it up. Oh, it's for the kids. This for the children. Oh, this is so we could just get together because, we don't have time. So we just going to make this be our time. Y'all just love to lie to yourself just to stay oppressed. And then complain about being sick, diseased. broken down. See, if we take control, then we'll have a chance to know the type of meat that's being put on our tables, the type of grain that's going into our closets, the water, the infrastructure. We'll have control over the grade of bonds that are within a particular city. Most of you don't know about the bond ratings, the A, B's, and C's for the bond ratings, and why within the so-called black communities they got the worst bond rating, and why your streets are always full of potholes and can't get nothing fixed. But that's because they're in control. And y'all think they're going to do right by you. Just another 4 more years. They've been playing that game for so long. It's a game. It's sad. You won't let another person such as myself run game or get over on you, but you let them do it to you over and over. And you're an adult and you make excuses for the corruption. And then you teach your children to bow down to it. Oh, if that ain't Willie Lynch scenario and theory, and they've corrupted our families, our mothers, our children, our fathers. I mean, the homes are broken, and we keep thinking they're going to do something good for us if we just vote. It's insane. We have been destroyed. But it's time for us to renew our mind. And all we're recognizing is decolonization provides a first step in order for us to come from under the threat. And it's a legal framework. So here, so scholars use broader definitions of colonism that include, I said that, economic dependence, okay, cultural suppression. Okay, here it is. Unequal legal status between populations. Unequal legal status between populations, right? This is how we know colonialism still exists. While you're saying vote, you have an unequal legal status between the populations. That's colonialism. Go vote. For what? It ain't going to change. It hasn't changed. There's nothing on the ballot that says we're going to eliminate this imbalance. But y'all keep voting. Whew. Insane. It says in academic discussion, these are often called internal colonialism. It's internal. You all are supporting internal colonialism. Go vote. You're voting for internal. I know you don't want to hear it. Y'all walking the hell up out of here. You're like that man that lost his cotton picking mind. Cotton picking. He got a cotton picking mind. Y'all trying to act like you don't know what I'm talking about, or. It's the fact that this truth is so painful, and through the addiction of the oppression, you rather turn back to the lies. As it says in the book, the dog then turned back to his vomit. Some of you, you're just not strong enough. So you rather continue placating to the BS and the lies and tell people don't listen to that. Y'all better come over here and we need to vote so we can get the orange man out the house. It says settler colonial structures. Right? So here somebody says, FUCK Democrats. Then you might as well say that to the entire system. Democrats and Republicans. Don't none of them work. So it says settler colonial structures. Is that not what the current governmental system is about? It's a colonial structure. You ain't know that? It's only meant to benefit the colonizer and their business components, family, friends, constituents, based on the constitutor. You remember I told you about the constitutor and the obligation to pay within the Constitution, who it's, speaking to or whatever, and the businesses that they've centered, around the colonies to become the states. It says neo-colonial economic systems. Y'all better wake up. Trying to deny that colonialism still exists and there's no need to decolonize, or we just need to vote. We just need to go vote. Our ancestors gave their lives so we can vote, so we need to go vote. Jesse Jackson gone. Al Sharpton ain't no good. They took Martin and Malcolm. Stop listening to the lies. It's a new day. CP is here. I'm here. We're working. Decolonization is the way. Oh, yeah. No, they're not going to put us on CNN, NBC, ABC, CBS, BBC. You're not going to hear this on any of those platforms. But trust and believe, everything I'm pointing out to you is centered around evidence-based academic research. You can go look it up. I'm not making it up. I'm just reading to you what's there, what they refuse to bring into your understanding, your school boards, to put on your radio stations and in your movies while you're being entertained. No. Got to keep you drugged, got to keep you intoxicated, got to keep you on the addiction, oppression. That's the addiction. So for that, you can't even focus on what it means to be organized. It says, such frameworks are debated among historians, legal scholars, and political theorists. Okay? Now, why this topic matters today? Almost done, y'all. Appreciate y'all for hanging out with me while we look at Let My People Go, why decolonization is definitely the way to go. Stop begging for reparations. Let's stand up in our proper place and or position and get what's ours. No more excuses. I'm showing it to you in black and white. Y'all can throw a football. You can grab a mic. You can dance your ass off. You can run the track. You can shoot the ball. You can do all those things to keep them satisfied and thrilled. Well, now it's time to pick up the pen and draft out where we want to be and what we want it to look like. You can sit down and do a business plan and what you call those imaginary boards, or what's those boards people do where they put these boards up and all this wish stuff. You can do all of that nonsense, but when it comes to looking at realistically, as you say, oh, I'm a realist, realistically at what needs to be done on paper, an expressed will, oh, y'all too busy. Oh, you ain't got time. Oh, you got to go do this. You got, I'll see you tomorrow. Again, you're not who this is for. Why this topic matters today. Decolonization, law influences, sovereignty disputes. That's what we're going through. A sovereignty dispute because we're a separate people and we're demanding our sovereignty. And they say, oh, you're a sovereign citizen. You talking about demand. You think the law don't apply to you? No, we're looking to activate the law, but to our interest and to our benefit. We're not trying to be above the law. We just want it to work in our favor, for our interest, on our behalf, under our control. Much differently than in your control. So they use terminology like that, sovereign citizen and other words, to make you feel some type of way about being independent. Oh, it's clever what they do. And they spend billions of dollars to make certain a number of you do not cross over. Sovereignty disputes, indigenous governance movements, territorial referendums, international human rights law, global political stability. These are all things for a number of you would be brand new. You've never seen it before. Furthermore, a number of you don't even think we have the wherewithal in order to make these things happen, but we keep fighting to do it for them, but we doubt that we can do it for ourselves. That's a weird type of indoctrination. That's some serious psychosis going on right there. That's some serious love-hate for yourself. You can do it for them, but doubt that you can do it for yourself. It says it remains central to how international law defines legitimate governance. Remember what legitimate is, y'all? Legitimate governance, meaning what people decide is proper, appropriate, and just. We just need to stand up to announce what we find to be proper or legitimate, appropriate, and just. Here are the key takeaways. And after this, this is the last part. We're done for today looking at the key takeaway. Looking at the key takeaway, all right? Resolution 1514 declares colonialism must end. If y'all agree that colonialism must end, please put a 1 in the chat. We got a lot of people in the room. If y'all agree colonialism must end, please put a 1 in the chat. Y'all remember, tap the screen, it don't cost you anything. Put a 1 in the chat if you agree colonialism must end. Tap the screen, it don't cost you anything. The Daily Heartmeal is up there. Share the live, repost the live, although we're almost done. If your family, if you missed it, y'all, I got a link. There's a link on this page. It'll be up until Saturday. Click that link. It'll take you to the channel where these videos will be posted. You'll see the videos centered around decolonization. There's some other stuff up on that page, the protection against search and seizure page, but you'll also find the videos for decolonization up there as well. The link is up there. Don't miss it. I'm gonna take it down on Saturday. I'll rotate it and put it back up. Yep, still putting the 1s in the chat if you think decolonization must end. All right. Resolution 1541 explains how legitimate self-governance is determined. So we have a measure that we can go by, you all. We have a measure that we can go by. Teodi, Hotep, brother, shalom. Right? So we can't just make it up out of our heart, because we love to think we could do stuff out of our heart and just out of our head, and we can tap into the acoustic records, and we love just making up some stuff. It's a weird dynamic with the way we do that when it's right here. We hate instruction. That's what it is. We hate instruction and don't want nobody telling us what to do, except for the oppressor. Now, if he tell us what to do, oh man, we'll break our neck to try and appease whatever they say. But when it comes to us, and in this instance, like me and an opportunity trying to tell you what to do, oh, you don't tell me what to do. You can't judge me. But these folk judge you all day long, unjustly. And you cool with it. Y'all, we need to get over that in our mind. They've programmed us to hate ourselves in that manner and or that way. We have an issue with instruction, and especially when it comes from us, but we got to get over that. Because if we're going to self-govern, who you think the instruction going to come from? It's coming from us. It's not going to have and or be centered around any respect for the person. So you may be used to the corruption within their system, you know, like an Epstein, based on how much money you got, they might sweep some things under the rug. Well, in our standard or system of government, we can't tolerate that. If you create, you know, a infraction against a standard or rule, you have to deal with the judgment. Don't matter how much money you got. Don't matter how much fame you have, rich or poor. The judgment is the judgment. That's accountability. We have to move away from hypocrisy and all of the bad habits that we've learned from these corruptors. We have to eradicate from our mind all of the corruption and the chaos that we've learned from the colonizers under the oppression. Oh, I know it's hard. It's hard because it's an addiction, and we have not yet identified that it's an addiction. But once we can identify that it's an addiction, we can take one step, one day at a time to overcome it. But first, we have to acknowledge it's an addiction. We're drawn to it. We feed off of it. It's all we know. But through this process, we can eradicate the disruption from our lives and be responsible for ourselves. Competing on a global stage, something we haven't seen since the colonizers introduced themselves and onto this side of the planet and or taking control, establishing their government. All right, so Resolution 1541 explains how legitimate self-governance is determined. 73E ensures transparency and accountability. Don't we talk about that? Transparency, accountability. We've gotten so numb to the words, you don't even know what transparency or accountability look like. But it's for us to implement it, to stand on it, because they've given us the measure for which it can be sought. Now, based on bridging the gap of information, we can do it because we know the body of information we're using to bridge the gap. So they can no longer act like they're confused. Oh, because they love to act like they're confused. They don't know what you're talking about. So if we're looking at the information, they have the information, now we've bridged the gap. Everybody know what we're talking about. Now we know where transparency and accountability is measured by. It's really, it's that good. It's that simple. It's just we've allowed them to thrive within chaos, striving, shall I say, within chaos, and to keep us confused, whether it's this or whether it's that, or I don't know, and the assumption, and it's so much, centered around keeping them in position and or power based off of pure speculation. That's it. Their system is set up off of pure speculation and presumption. That's it. I ain't lying. It says, together, they form the modern legal framework for self-determination. Let me read that again because y'all may have missed it. You want liberation? You want freedom? It says, together, they form the modern legal framework for self-determination. There's no more excuses, y'all. You want freedom? And I ain't talking about the freedom that they gave you, because that ain't freedom. It's a guise. It look like, it feel like, but you don't have no control. You don't have no power. You continue to be ruled over, ruled on, ran over. Together, they form the modern legal framework for self-determination. Again, don't wait for their experts and their professionals to explain this to you. If you're looking for their attorneys and, their legalese and for them to bring it out, they can't make no money with this. They need you to get hit by a car or something so you can file an accident claim, or they need you to get billy clubbed across the head so they can go and deal with a police lawsuit or something along those lines. They can't make no money with this. Don't wait for them to validate this for you. It's right here. You can't wait for their experts and their professionals to bring this to you. That's why CP, who created the Elevation Room, and where we have the EBAR, which is evidence-based academic research, these places have been created for us to gain the right knowledge to move toward liberation. But if you don't want it, you don't want it. Please stay over there. I promise you, we're not begging you to work toward your own freedom, self-determination, reclaiming autonomy. It's not for everybody. It's just not for everybody. Some of y'all want to keep voting, so keep voting. I ain't arguing with you about it. It says, together, they form the modern framework for self-determination and political status under international law. Y'all think y'all have political status under international law being a Democrat or a Republican? The one guy wrote in the chat, FUCK Democrats, like you got some political status being a Republican? See, these are the people you need to watch out for. He thought putting FUCK Democrats was saying something. There's a term out there, and don't get me wrong, like I said, I'm not calling anybody, any names, or anything like that, but there's a term out there called useful IDIOTS. And if you're dealing in politics, you're being used as a useful IDIOTS. It's just that simple. Because you're supporting colonialism. Now, If you're the nationality and or people of the colonizer, then you should be voting and you should be supporting it. But if you're not that people, you're in the wrong place. You're in the wrong state of mind. But we were born into this, and for a number of you, as long as you can feed your belly, you'll walk over your mama. Okay? Let's see. So now let's look at, so that was it for that. But I wanted to point out this thing right here. I just wanted to share this with you right here. This was a special note. It just kind of caught my eye. It just kind of caught my eye. And for those of you who you're used to being in my room as we normally talk about Fourth Amendment advocacy, the investigative sphere, and different things, that these administrative agencies do. You've kind of heard me talk about this, but I found something that paralleled, a particular thing, and I just want to share it with you. And then, we're done. I think, let's see, what time did I come on? 9. So we're pushing up on 3 hours. I'll kind of open the floor a little bit, and we can talk real quick. All right, but here I want to tell you about Article 15, Paragraph 1 of the Madrid Agreement concerning the international registration of marks. States that the agreement remains in force indefinitely. Ooh. If you've been in my room before and you know what that sounds like or would be associated with on another level, you can put it in the chat. If not, just hang on in there. I'm gonna tell you. I'm gonna show you what it is. You're gonna be like, God, oh, C2K, man, I don't know how you saw it, but I saw it. Just showing you how they working this thing on multiple levels, y'all. So here, Article 15, Paragraph 1 of the Madrid Agreement concerning the international registration of marks state that the agreement remains in force indefinitely. Indefinitely. Right? It says it allows any member country to denounce the act via notification to the Director General of WIPO. WIPO is World. Oh, I forgot what WIPO is. You can look it up. All right, which affects only the country withdrawing. So first of all, you gotta listen to it again. The agreement remains in full force indefinitely. It says unless you denounce via notification. What does that remind you of? I'm gonna call you out, Mario, or anybody else that's been, in the room before, if you remember what that remind you of. My bad, Mario. I ain't mean to call you out. I'm just playing. I'm gonna tell y'all what it is. And when I tell you, you're gonna say, doggone it. Remember this, y'all? Remember the presumption of continuity? Remember that doctrine? I used to talk about the presumption of continuity. Remember? When we would talk about your status and how under the presumption of continuity, here it is, I'll read it. Under the doctrine known as the presumption of continuity, a status, when proved to exist, will be presumed to have continued to exist. And the only way the status will no longer exist is you have to file a formal rebuttal. Remember where it talked about if you are, once they presume your status to be a resident of the state, that you had to then go and file the rebuttal that you're not the resident of the state, that you allow them to know, like, really what your status is. So these two things, I saw the parallel, in them, as they said, the agreement remains in force indefinitely, and until you denounce, the act via notification, would it be removed? I was like, damn, that's what they use on the state level for status under what they call the doctrine, the presumption of continuity. All right, that's it. All right. I know I may have been just entertaining myself with that. A number of you may have to circle back to come to understand what I'm talking about with that. So let my people go. Decolonization, you all, that's the route, that's the road, right? Now, for entertainment purposes, we can open up the stage if y'all want to talk. If y'all want to share some insight based on some of the things you've heard, some of the things you know. Let me tell you this right now. CP is on the stage. Y'all, I'm going to say this. I'm confident with what I know. All right? I know what I know, and I've been doing what I know for a very long time. But I would not know anything about the decolonization and this whole process if my brother CP hadn't pulled my coat. I came across him, in the elevation room, and we've been friends ever since. But, this is what it was. What it was is that through my research and education dealing with Fourth Amendment advocacy, when he started talking about the human rights and the UN resolutions, and when he was bringing out these principles, man, that stuff lined up so well. It was like I understood what was being expressed. And we're reading these documents and we're going over it, and I can only read something a couple of times before I'm like, I can't read it no more. What we're going to do about it? So I kind of forced everybody's hand, to like, we ain't going to keep talking about this. It's time to go, right? So that's where we are right now, is we're in full force motivational mode. We're driving. And we just want to know, are you with us? Or are you against us? And if you're undecided, by default, you've decided. And you're not with us. Right? So the stage is open. The stage is open. Make sure you follow CP. Make sure you follow Mario. I don't think Jabbar is in the house tonight. Coco is in the house. I'm sorry, I'm trying to get you up, bro. Coco is in the house. My brother Mel O is in the house. All right, who we got that just came up on the stage?
Brother Pierre, savoir-faire.
All right, savoir-faire. What you want to add to the conversation, savoir-faire?
I appreciate your words. I appreciate you allowing me to come up. And I'm stuck in the mode of I'm with you, and I'm locked in. You locked me in, right? Right to the point where you make a decision. I just turned 68 years old, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I recognize I'm from the South Bronx, NYC. And I recognize in the time that we're in right now, you're either practicing treason or you're practicing unity. One of the two.
Okay.
Ain't no mid. It's like the words say. Ain't no middle ground. The Most High don't like you riding that fence. You either on one side or the other.
That's right.
And this is show me time as far as let your yays be yay and your nays be nay. period. Because with all the information that's going around, you can't say you don't know what's going on. You cannot say that you do not know what's going on. Every
That's
day you
correct.
wake up, every day you wake up, you see it on the news, you see it on the internet, you see it out in the streets, you see the zombies running around out in the street. If you don't see zombies running out in the street, your ass is asleep. Facts. If you don't literally see zombies running around in the street when you go out into the so-called the streets that we live on, all of the city, mainly the cities. You walk around, you don't see no zombies running around, your ass is asleep.
Indeed.
But
So,
I'm just marinating off what you said, brother. I'm just trying to get in where I fit and just my name is Pierre Savoir-Faire, better known as Luther. I'm up in the house. You got Luther
hey,
up in the house.
Luther, Savoir Faire Pierre, sound like you used to be a rapper or something.
I'm one of the original free flowers. I grew up with Cool Herc
Oh,
Flash, Ron DMC, African Bambaataa. Yeah, I was one of the
uh-huh.
originals.
Okay.
And the Most High has blessed me to see that thing called hip hop.
Right.
That thing called hip hop that was taken away from us. See, the higher ups, they took what we was putting together. I was a 5%er. Well, I still am. I was one of the gods in the Bronx. And
Okay.
when we structured rap, I was one of the original ones that structured rap. And then the higher ups took what we put together and then they created hip hop. They altered our narrative and they filled it in with other contents that was very destructive to our
I remember
community.
you. I remember you now. I was in a I was in C I think I was in CP's live when you may have been in his room at one time. If it was not his room, it was definitely another, but I remember you now. And
I hope it's a good memory.
well, yeah,
Hope it's a good memory. Want to
uh,
clear the air with that.
yeah, okay, yeah. It's definitely good. I'm glad to have you, in our room, and hopefully we can get your mind involved in some of the work that we're doing.
Okay.
Right? So you can inbox me so I can get you, linked up to the different discords, that we have. And I
For
tell you
sure.
guys, if you missed this conversation and you want to get it, there's a link in my bio to like a website, but it's a YouTube channel. The video will be posted up there. You'll see other videos that we did centered around decolonization there as well. It'll be up until Saturday. When Saturday come, I'll put another link up for something else. But if you want to
Okay.
get it, it'll be there. Let's go. We got Michael in the room. How you doing, Michael?
I'm well. How are you?
Man, doing good. Yeah, Michael
Yeah.
is another one. You all that's been pretty consistent coming in. Supporting and doing what he can do. So, what you want to share with the people, Mike?
I mean, I think decolonization is a necessary thing. I mean, but you know, I uh I posed the question in CP's live. Who are the colonizers? Um,
Hmm.
where does the mentality, the mindset truly live? Um, you know, we do we know? Can we really look at some of the people who we call kinfolk that have our same skin? Are they colonizers or are they one of us? You know,
Thank you. Thank you.
and it's very difficult to tell. You
Thank you.
know, because you have people that are looking like you that are working against you running organized and semi-organized, movements,
Thank you.
within your communities, around you, against you, So, you know, that whole
Thank you.
decolonizer thing, I wonder if it can be achieved in the manner that maybe we think it is. It can be achieved.
I'm ready for
I
you. I'm just waiting for you to stop so I can start. I got an answer
oh
for you.
oh okay, go ahead, hit me up.
Yeah, I got an answer for you. Like I didn't rehearse this. I knew it was coming. I knew it was coming. In fact, before this, Mario and I, we were in a committee meeting, and I told you, Mario, didn't I tell you, Mario? If you remember what I told you, just put a one down so I can go, just to make sure you already know what I'm getting ready to say. I think I told you. Well, I don't think I know I told you. If you don't remember, it's oh, there it is. All right, he gave me the one. So this is what I have to say to you, Michael, and anybody else in the room, because I know you're not the only one that have that thought. So here, this is what I do, bro, and it ain't gonna stop. I've been doing it for over 30 years, right? And if they come get me tomorrow, they'll come get me, tomorrow. But until that time, I'm gonna keep doing this work because that's what I do, right? Now, Judas, that's Judas. That's what he do. And you can't stop him from doing what he does. If you understand the story, and I'll just use this from the standpoint of the parable, like when he was talking to a man known as Christ, Christ asked him, "Don't you got a job to do? Like, go do your job." And there's also another story centered around the sons of God being in the presence of the Lord, and who doggone creeped up in the room but the devil himself. And they all looked around, and he said, "What you doing here?" And he said, "Oh, I'm just going to and fro, seeing, who's what and where." And that's what they do, bro. Can't stop it. Shouldn't even want to stop it because it separates and or shows us who's who or what's what. Now, here's the final thing I'll say about that. For everyone that's a Judas, I know you can't help yourself, but you're miserable. You'll live a miserable life. The Judas in the book, he took his life. And the man that was the Judas to Malcolm X, oh, he's a destroyed individual. So I wouldn't be so much concerned about the Judas. I would be more focused on the objective and the agenda if this is what you do. So let Judas be Judas. And for those of us that are about this work, let's go and let's do this work, understanding the same thing and or the same principles. So this time it'll be different. If they move CP or C2K out the way, you still got the marching orders. Y'all can keep moving. So I'm not concerned about those that look like me and hold the mind of the colonizer. Here's the other thing. When we set up to function off of principles to where we were talking about that transparency and accountability, which we're not really familiar with those concepts and processes because they've been like absent out of our support groups and communities, and we don't know nothing about that. But if we function off of that as the example, we'll see Judas. We'll see the man because he won't be able to stand to the principle. That's why a man named Christ was able to say, "Don't you got a job to do? Like, I see you. I know who you are. The whole time he's like, who is it? Who is it? Me? Is it like we'll know who's who and what's what, but we have to stay focused on what we're doing and not be concerned about what they're doing. And too often we've been always concerned about what other people are doing and taking our eyes off of the mark. So let's stay focused on what the objective is, what the goal is, and like the ants, bro, we just keep marching. We keep moving. We go around the obstacle and we gonna get to where we need to go. That's my answer. Thank you for listening. Hey, let's go
I like
to we got we
I,
got
I like
oops.
that answer, but I wanted to say something else.
Wait,
Um,
hold on one second. Hold on one second. I'm gonna let you say it. Hold on one second. Let's hear from Mexican King real quick. Mexican King, you've been holding on in there. What you want to say? Going once? Going twice? You're still on mute. I know you're probably trying to get yourself, off of mute. All right, let's go to Teody. Our brother
Hey,
Teody. What you want to
oh,
add? And then I'll come back to you, Mike.
Tep, I won't be long. How you doing, brother man? Good to hear you.
Good, good.
Uh, it was great to hear what you were saying. These are things that we can't hear too much of. We always need to hear this. And I really loved how you focused on us always supporting unalive pale man on a dollar bill. And if we don't let that go, we ain't gonna get nowhere. And so I really appreciate that part too. And then the whole idea of decolonization, if we hyper focus on that, I think we will get free. Because I don't think there's any other concept that's going to lead to all the steps it's going to take for us to truly decolonize other than following that track. And that one keeps us secure too in the right to decolonize and the right to have our own government. If we try to form our own government any other way other than decolonization, is not supported by international law. I appreciate the I'm definitely listening.
All right, so Mexican King, he's still having some issues. So I'm actually going. I'm gonna drop him down because I don't know why he came up if you don't want to talk. All right, so King David, Mexican King David, if you want to come back up, you can come back up, but I'm gonna put you down right now. You don't need to be up here if he not ready to talk. All right, Michael, go ahead. You say you had, you say you like what was said, but you got something else you wanted to say.
Nah, go ahead, keep it moving. I just heard you mention something about lawsuits and things of that nature, and I just I came in on the tail end of it. I wanted like some kind of clarification as to what you were like referring to. Are you saying that if uh, if you seek redress or relief through this system, you're perpetuating the situation, and that you're advancing their agenda, or what are you?
I'm not sure what you heard, but no, I'm not saying that you should not seek any remedy that's available that you can actually achieve in this system. I'm just saying the way they have it set up is not meant for us to be successful, and we have an opportunity to function within our own structure and or system. But yeah,
Right.
by all means, if
So you're
we are
saying if you
to
if you can avail yourself to a remedy and can see your way clear to achieve that, then by all means do so. But it's not set up for us to succeed, and
right.
and we should look to utilize our own system for answers. That's basically what
Well,
you.
well, right now we don't have our own system, so
But
you
create one.
know we have to use the point of what they have in order to get that redress. And by all means, hell yeah,
Right.
do what you have to do. But the
Right.
aim and or the goal is to stand on self-determination, which would move us from under the point of them being able to charge us with anything, because no different than you have heads of state or foreign nationals. I mean, it would be a totally different ball game how they even get to approach us. But again, because all we know is oppression, we can't see a world with them across the street to where they can't really come on the other side of the street and just do what the hell they want to do. That just seems so weird. But in separating and having the self autonomy and or reclaiming, I'm sorry, self determination and reclaiming self autonomy, status wise, it puts us in a totally separate stratosphere. And we're just not used to living in that suit or, having that type of house for protection.
Yes, sir. I get it completely now. Thank you so much for the
Okay.
clarification.
All right. So you all, doesn't seem like anybody else wants you, let's see, did I get everybody? Yeah, I did. I did get everybody. All right. Seemed like we've had a great time. We've spent, a few hours. I appreciate all of the guests on stage, all of the comments, all of the hearts and the likes and the gifts and the reposting and the sharing. I thank you all, for this time. I just really hope this was more than a listening session for a number of you, and you really, really want to get involved. Okay. Oh, my brother Mel, did you want to say anything?
Well, I appreciate you having me up on the panel tonight. And I am actually learning a lot, and I've been following CP as well, and I've been dropping in and out of his lives as well. Just learning a lot, and it, you know, has me motivated to do even more and just stay more involved and get more involved. I mean, it's, always, I hear a lot of people say, what can I do? They feel like their little bit is not going to make a difference. And I just always try to motivate people, because that little bit that you not contributing might be that little bit that push us right on over the, top of the hill where we need to be. So I appreciate the talk, appreciate the motivation, and I'm gonna stay in tune with you guys. So I appreciate it, and I land
Awesome.
there.
And K, awesome. And K Real, if you can't make it up this time, this is what we do, bro. It ain't gonna change. It ain't gonna stop. Lord willing. I'll be available to keep this thing going. Mario, did you want to say anything?
I would just sum up everything in a quick analogy. Um, we can liken decolonization to the old phrase of, would you rather be fed to fish, or would you rather be taught how to fish so that you can,
Mm,
you know, it's really simple. I mean, people are making it harder than it has to be. If you just think of decolonization in the example that I just gave, and now go back and look at different American policies that they want to roll out, like universal health care. Is universal health care, is that giving you two fish, or is that teaching you how to fish? You know what I'm saying? That's the difference between colonization and going along with the plan that they have laid out for you. And once they get in trouble like they are now, with other nation states around the globe, or whether they just on a whim, they just feel like, all right, you feeling ungrateful, go feed yourself. you know why
mm.
wait until you're forced to be in that position when we can make a conscious choice now to be active and teach ourselves to fish? And with that, I yield, brother.
I mean, Vivi said, teach me how to fish. You know, she ain't playing that. She don't give her nothing. She said, teach her how to fish. All right. Um, y'all tap the screen. It don't cost you anything. Daily Hartman's still up there. I would tell you repost and I would tell you to share it, but we really getting ready to, get up out of here. Um, CP, did you want to share anything before we go?
I just want to tell you thank you. Thank you for your consistent hard work. It is not overlooked and it's definitely not underappreciated. I also want to say thank you to all those who are genuine in this space. I have been paying attention to the chat and I have been noticing that some people are here trolling, but again, we focus on those who are here genuine. So I want to say thank you to those who are here who have been taking notes, both physical notes and mental notes. We're dealing with the United States of America in Congress assembled the Republic, which is the house that no one lives. The house still exists, it's just unoccupied. So these type of conversations puts us on the right path to figure out what we need to do and the very important topic of decolonization. So thank you, good brother. We'll continue to work.
Hey man, I'm gonna tell y'all right now, follow CP because it's through him that I'm inspired to do the work, that I do. And like I said, I'm really old enough to be his father and for him to be my son. But he's been like a mentor to me in a number of ways, and me like a protege. But when he pulls out certain information, then I just can easily adapt, to it and even come to understand how to put it into action. And that's a part of me, you all. Like I can only read something a couple of times for I'm like, gotta go and make it real, type thing. So that's how we work, as a team. And this is how we look at what our strengths and what our weaknesses are, and understanding how to make our weaknesses, a strength, and continuing to edify, ourselves as we're like genuinely moving forward and learning each other and understanding, how to have this body. And I'll just say again, y'all don't have to be afraid of nobody trying to sell you a package. We don't have no informational packages, and it ain't gonna cost you $100 to $500 to $1,000 to talk, and a consultation fee. That's dead. Anybody that's offering that, you better run. Okay, if they want you to pay, for liberation, you better run. This information is free. And you should want to support this information based on your talents, your skills, and whatever other gifts, that you have, that we can make this thing, into full force and fruition. Okay. Thank you. Take it easy. Okay. All right. You're welcome. We got a brother I met earlier today. He came up on the live, K Real, and he's pretty much connected with another organization dealing with. I better live. I'll butcher it. I'll let him tell you. K Real.
I was just scrolling through the lives, but he'd be on exactly what I'm really on. Earlier, talking about what's going on in Iran and the Gulf, but he told me to come on later because he was going to have this decolonization talk. So I made sure I came up. My daughter even got me awake. She woke me up. I'm a hereditary chief in the native systems and the African systems. I descend from Louisiana Creole people from Louisiana, Mississippi. And then on my dad's side, my dad is like Gullah Geechee, Seminole. But my family is really mixed up as far as the natives and Africans. And then also my European bloodline. I got bloodline going back to different royal families in Europe. And Louisiana, Napoleonic law, which is the state law of Louisiana, you're able to inherit everything and whatever your ancestor systems are. if you were tied to those original families from Louisiana pre 1803. So I was able to inherit everything from the European system, from the African system, and then also from the native system, which made me the paramount chief in all the systems here in America. So right now I'm paramount over every single tribe in America. It's been proven I have the strongest native bloodline right now. And if anybody's in the chat that understands the history of the Natchez tribe, Le Grand Soleil, the Great Sun Chief, there hasn't been one in 300 years. The last one was unalived by the French for freeing slaves. He kicked off a war that lasted 3 years across the South, freeing slaves. And, they punished them by wiping out a lot of them and sending them, the other ones to Haiti. The ones that remained had to go hide in the various native tribes. And that's how I wound up having the strongest bloodline, is because when we went to go hide, we had to mix in with a lot of different tribes. So when we come back together, all those bloodlines wound up being in my blood. And Louisiana State, too, is one of the only states where you could be from multiple tribes. Most of the other tribes, you only are allowed to be one native tribe. It doesn't matter your ancestry. You're only allowed to claim one under American law. So what the brother's telling you, it works. I was recognized over the last summer, from June to the end of the last year. Our government's actually up and running. We have a mobile tribal court. We're waiting for certain things to be transferred to us, as far as some of our ancestors' properties. There's supposed to be vehicles we're supposed to be getting for our tribal government. But we're doing a lot, and we just got our website up 2 weeks ago. So, this is something that's being built. Like, while you guys are talking about this is ongoing right now, and I'm actually able to enroll people. So if you're a descendant of slaves, runaway slaves, or maroons, or if you're a free person of color, I'm able to enroll you. If you're a descendant from any of the native tribes, or you could trace your ancestry back to any African tribe, or Black Europeans, or even white Europeans that were down with our people, I'm able to enroll all those people, plus anybody that mixed in with us. And under our treaties, we have dynastic rights. So it doesn't matter what colonial power comes on our land, we still have the same rights. And that was something that I won over the summer. I beat them on that. I also beat them on the land rights, that our land was never legally taken away. We still have legal land rights to everything, even if people are sitting on our land right now. So it's all good. We'll discuss it further. I know it's midnight where I'm at, so I know people got work and stuff tomorrow.
Yeah, it's midnight. It's midnight.
Can I drop my website in the chat?
We'll work on that later. You and I gonna build a little bit more, and then we'll establish venues for us to do that.
You're welcome on my lives too. We have lives between Gullah Geechee, Louisiana Creole, and the Latin diaspora. So we have a brother who's from Puerto Rico. He's half Puerto Rican and Colombian. So he moderates for us, and then he gets the Latin community to come in, and he deals with some of the anti-Black racism in the Latin community, because Louisiana Creole, we're also Latin, but we're from here. We're the first Latin in North America.
Well, I tell you right now, as we're focused on decolonization, we're looking to work with others that are doing, similar things. So my point was to meet with you, get to know a little bit more about you a little bit more about us, and see how within the family of nations that we can continue, to work towards the same goal. So
everything we talked about tonight, we already got it moving. We have motion on it already. So I could either give you guidance for you guys to do it individually, yourselves, or if you're gonna join our confederation and widen it, because we're able to absorb other groups.
Yeah, those are things that, like I said, we'll have to, talk about. And, as we're looking at really what these standards and principles are, we can make a decision, really, what's in the best interest, of all parties. So, like I said, it was really good to meet you earlier, and to be able to know that you guys are doing, some work. And we're doing it right now too. We have our point of contact, within, the UN, and we understand where the sources of funds are coming from. So we're working, just as you guys are working. It's just about networking now, as I say, within the family of nations to really know how we maintain the concept of decolonization entirely, as we even talk about North America, as CP was, kind of pointing out, like having control over, everything, all of it. So once again, I appreciate you, and we're going to talk on the back channels, and we'll do some lives together, focused on this movement for liberation and decolonization, as well. All right. So with that being said, you all, I think we all had a chance to, get our thoughts out. CP, did you want to have the last word before I shut it down, um, or what?
No, I just want to make sure everybody knows that the work that you put in, and you said it well earlier. Reading these documents, reading these United Nations resolutions, these treaties, etc., is one thing. But actually taking it to the next step, I tip my hat to you. I tip my hat to you privately, and I tip my hat to you publicly. That's very important. So I just want to say thank you for the work that you're doing again.
All right.
No,
Awesome. All right. So
thank you for
guys,
letting me up on the panel.
oh man, absolutely. Yeah. It was good to meet you, and we're gonna work in the background, Michael. We working in the background. Um, Mario, we working. Teody, Coco, we working. We are doing it. We're doing it, y'all. So, want to thank everybody for coming out. Decolonization. They say, "I dare you." We're saying, "Let my people go." This is the only option. You all stop begging for reparations. And with that, I'll just say good morning, good evening, good night, wherever you are.